I know this video is going to trigger some of you Ibanez, you know, maniacs and your OCD when it comes to your approach to Ibanez repair. You'll find at the end of this, the end of the actual, like I say, the repair, or I should say the maintenance of this guitar, you'll find it's actually running pretty fucking damn good. Me, I'm one of these guys, I've got to have tools.
Yeah, like that one. We are in Sorrento. Bit of South Park guitar stuff. We got the Line 6 and I got my Helix Light. We're plugging into this Eurorack Pro from, what is that, Behringer?
Yeah, it's just a simple little thing. Does the job. It's pretty cool.
This is Chuck's EC 1000 Deluxe, whatever it's called. This is Ben's, what is this? An FR,
That's
it's a Horizon.
Yeah, Horizon, yeah.
This is Ben's other guitar. We're
the drop D guitar.
Yeah, we're working on metal choir stuff. There's my orange Metamucil to match the orange guitar.
We're going to have a look at this thing. First things first, I always, because hasn't been looked at for a bit.
Looked at or looked after?
Looked after a bit. I just like going through, making sure everything's nice and tight.
Was this a good purchase?
This was a fantastic purchase.
Why?
Because this is, if I'm not mistaken, this would be probably one of the first series.
I don't know.
Of the RG550.
It is made in Japan. I know that much.
And well, any Ibanez made in Japan pretty much is good.
As in a good purchase.
Is what you want.
Yeah.
Just tighten it a little bit. Okay, that's okay. That's all. That's what I should do. Lovely. We're gonna have a look at the check the truss rod. We're gonna do all fucking things to make sure we're good to go. A lot of people don't understand with truss rods. You shouldn't muck around with them too much. But what I do, I just make sure, for example, it's not too tight.
Yep.
And it's not too loose. What I'll do, because they actually had, so he hasn't over tightened it, which is great, because I haven't had to go, oh shit. So I actually just went like a little movement. And I went, ah, beautiful. It's actually quite stable. What I do now, I'm going to go through all the bits and pieces. The frets look fantastic, plenty of life. I'll just clean them up, and it's very straight, which is great. When we put our strings on it, because he had really thick strings,
yeah,
I will then do adjustments of the truss rod to allow for the new strings and for what gauge we're going to use. I'm actually about to look at what pickups we have. We obviously know this is the DiMaggio. That would be a hot rails in my view. It's probably overkill to have a hot rails in the center, but that's okay. It's interesting. But I really want to see what this one is, that one is. These look, well, they definitely look like DiMaggio. They definitely look like a DiMaggio, because the DiMaggio normally have this rad sort of, these colours, and they normally have the poles that are actually Allen keys. This one, I wouldn't be too surprised if this is a tone zone.
Yeah.
This one looks like might be a PAF. We'll see. Okay, so if it is a tone zone and a PAF, I'm going to have to try to convince you to keep it. Because
I don't care, as long as they both scream.
Oh no, the tone zones are fantastic. They're actually a really nice humbucker. They're not as okay. The bare knuckles have that particular, you know, full on. They're great. They're a great humbucker. But there's nothing wrong with the tone zone or the actual PAF. The PAF in the neck is actually pretty cool. Yeah. But that's if it is. If it isn't, well, we'll have to have a look. Yeah. And talk. I'm going to have to see. I want to see the wiring anyway. It's always good to make sure that we're dealing with the right. Well, they are definitely DiMaggio, which is fantastic. That's a great thing. Yep. Oh, it's a split. It's a split. Oh, excellent. Oh, very cool. He's added. We didn't know that. It's a split. We can actually split the poles, split the humbuckers. Nice. So it's got a split switch, which is great. That's been changed. That's DiMaggio, which is fantastic, and that has been changed as well. That would be a CTS, if I'm not mistaken. It looks bloody like. Oh no, it's DiMaggio. So they've actually changed the DiMaggio volume control as well. Bridge is a Steve Special. Yeah. Which would be, I would say, is based on the Evolution. Yeah. But that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that, because I don't mind the sound of the Evolution pickups. I've actually got a pair in one of my guitars, and they roar.
You know, you say actually like every other word.
Air Norton. That's even cool.
Where? In
that's
the bridge or in the neck?
Norton in the neck. That's.
Do we need to know this middle one?
That would be. I'm putting my money down. There's a Hot Rails Fast Track, which is a Hot Rails.
Nice.
So everything in this is pretty fucking ballsy. That Air Norton.
Why would you put a Hot Rails in the middle?
Well, you wouldn't really. You would normally Hot Rails. You'd have. I would normally have it's just a single coil, because a single coil works well when you get that really cool acoustic sound between when you split the humbucker on the neck and have a single coil here. You get that great sound. But I think the way he's wired this, which I can see, he's wired it so you can actually split the coil. You can actually split so the winding, so that you can actually make that a single coil and that a single coil, which is great. But the only problem is when you're playing guitar, you've got to fucking flick it up into that one back from the actual.
Oh, right.
And then you've got to pull the fucking tone control at the same time. And when you're playing guitar and you want to be quick, it's a pain in the ass.
Two-way toggle, baby.
So you're spinning about, say, 180, so it's almost close to $600 worth of pickups anyway.
Yeah, right.
So, and we bought the whole guitar for, do I have to say the number?
If you want, you don't have to.
Care. Well, this was $850, this whole thing.
So I'm checking my phone for a pinned comment of our thing entitled Drunk Online Guitar Purchase, Ibanez 1991 RG550. The pinned comment goes as follows. From somebody named They Lie, Ohio. Serial number F151105 equals production year. November of 91 factory. Fuji Gengaki. 1987 to 1996 Japan.
Yep. So it'd be Series 1 or Series 2.
Nice.
That's fantastic. What I do, I always go over all this sort of shit to make sure everything's tight. That's good. The locking pin for the locking pin. No one really checks all this sort of shit, because if you don't, so that's basically, it's a locking clip.
Oh, yeah.
So you got obviously your whammy bar, your tremolo arm, and that's what the locking clip goes in there. This little spring loader little clip here, that screw sometimes comes loose. What shits me about these sometimes is that the actual insert, which is it's nice and tight in this one, because you've got to screw it down through the thread through the actual body of the edge, the bridge, and then you have to lock it with this nut here. If this nut comes loose, that's when this starts flopping around, and that's when you get that real shit play in the tremolo. Like it goes bing, 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 and then everyone shit you. And the other problem is the actual the bushes.
Yeah.
These wear.
Are they shit? Well,
these ones are probably a little bit worn. This is quite old, this one. The new one, mate, you can hardly get it out of the bloody new.
No, yeah.
Pain in the ass. Yeah, but other than that, that's pretty rock solid. I've looked at everything. It doesn't look, where it sits here on the actual saddles.
Yep.
All the screws here, they're not worn at all. These are actually, it's really good. It's really clean. So I always go through my guitars. Everything should be just not too tight, but just nice, which it is. I'd never over tighten anything, because you'd be very upset when you thread,
you'd hate how tight I do the locking strings.
Oh no, look, I get it.
I tighten the fuck out of those fuckers.
But it's not the steel. Just got to remember, it's like you can cross thread it, like you'll thread it or anything like that. Just don't go too bananas. As long as it's, well, what I normally do, I just do it so it's basically, if I'm tightening that, I'll probably get cursed for this, but I normally just go from here with my thumb and then push as much as I can to my thumb. If you go that from there,
yeah,
you over leverage, if there's such a fucking thing. I basically put my first finger there and my thumb goes there, and then I do that, and that is normally that gauges quite tight.
Yeah.
If you go there, well, you're yanking the shit out of it. You shouldn't have to go rip the shit out of it.
I'm talking here.
Same deal.
Okay.
And other thing is too, I know this might sound very pedantic and shit, but I like to keep everything in order. I know that the way I know the way I put my locking system down, so I know when I'm looking at my guitar like this.
Yep.
That obviously goes between the E and A, the middle one obviously D and G, and the last one B and E.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The other good thing too, I've noticed there's no wear in here, which is fantastic. So if you get sometimes sometimes if you get a lot of wear on the actual back of the nut, or in the actual space here, it actually can cause your string can actually sound like a little vibration. I know it sounds very picky, but I find if there is a bit of wear, I sometimes get a bit of steel wool and finally clean it as best as I can. But if you actually have wear, really bad wear, it can actually cause a sort of a resonance in the string, like a vibration. And you can hear it go when you're actually playing it. And it's a pain in the ass. Now, again, look, with the nuts, everyone has their own theory. I don't give a shit. I normally have them like that, so it locks like that. So the actual
the things are going up and down.
that down. But some people don't. But again, if you're going to tighten it, I normally tighten it like that. Thumb again, finger, and tighten. If you go too far here, you're going to use too much leverage and you'll over tighten it. That's why I always put the thumb there, finger there, and that's enough. And these systems are really fucking good anyway, so they lock in quite well. And they rarely go out of tune, as you know. Yeah, there you go. Bit of fucking Ibanez theory. I'm one of these guys too, you know. I don't like, you know, sometimes I even just leave the truss rod thing off because I fucking like getting to it, because I'm extremely active when I get to my guitars. But this one I'll put back on, obviously. And I always leave the plate off here with the springs. Yeah. Because, to be quite honest, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, it's the back of the guitar.
And you can get to the screws when you need to balance the springs. I don't need to use that. I was going to give this a bit of a clean, but to be quite honest, this is actually pretty fucking good. So I reckon what I'll do, we'll go into town, go to Bunnings, I'll have some polish or something like that. We'll clean this up a little bit, even just a bit of, you know, something light, like even, whatever there is. Clean it up, and I'll give this a bit of a clean up as well, clean the fretboard as best as I can. To be quite honest, this is actually fucking sweet. For, how old is this thing now? About 30 years? For a 30-year-old guitar, mate, that's fucking awesome.
Run us through all the stuff you got.
Okay.
You got tape.
I've got tape.
Microfiber cloths.
Microfiber cloths. I've got orange oil. I know I normally use lemon oil, but we didn't get the lemon oil.
They didn't have any.
They didn't have any.
What about this? These
yeah, they're a little bit abrasive, but I'm going to put the that's why I'm putting the tape down, just giving the fret just a little bit of a whisker to get rid of some of the actual
dirt.
But anyway, this just stops it so I don't scratch the frets. Normally I've got what they have. I've got like little steel sleeves I put over the fret so I can actually do that on one at a time. Yeah. But I don't have that here. People probably.
You'd probably get crucified for
that. But the problem is they didn't have the fine stuff where we got, but I'll keep it very light.
What have you done?
Well, if you can see how lovely they look now.
And you just did it once over?
Yeah, and see how that one's shit?
Yeah.
Right, just nice and light, doesn't have to be too full on. And it's only a little bit, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just nice and light.
Just a little bit of loving.
It's not too abrasive, even though people say it is. I don't use too much of it, and just give it a light. It comes up nicely, just nicely.
Nicely.
It's just gets rid of the shit off the fret. Oh, beautiful that.
Yeah.
See, no abrasion at all.
Nice.
So yeah, if people say, that's fucking, you shouldn't touch it like that. Well, I just did and it looks perfect and I do it anyway and I've never had a problem. So yeah, there you go, fuck off. If you're a Lutherer, you can do a very light sand.
Yeah.
See the difference to that? That's all shitty and that one's not. Now the frets.
Yeah, dude, they came out really nice. Now what are you doing?
I'm just giving the body a bit of a clean, bit of a polish.
Now, are you using that orange stuff?
No. I'll do the fretboard. Do the fretboard with that.
What are you using on that?
This is just like an abrasive, because a non-abrasive glass cleaner.
Okay, yep.
So it's not going to hurt anything. It just gets rid of the dust and dirt. That's all it is.
The muck and the mire.
That's all it is, really. It's a lot of muck and shit in here. Look at that. Okay.
Body's polished.
Body is polished or cleaned. Streaks off. Frets are nicely shiny. Cleaned. Looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll give it a bit of an oily now.
That goes on the neck, in between the frets, mate.
Yeah, you don't have to put too much on it, really. Normally just do this. So just run it.
Yeah, right.
And then I'll just go same view. Give it a good clean there. It's actually coming up quite well.
Is it?
Yeah. Can you see that? Beautiful. Mate, look at that fretboard. It's lovely. We have a problem. Now, a lot of people don't realise that. See how the strings, this is how I've restrung it. See how we have difference here? Now, this string should be here, and this string should be about here. How do we fix this? Well, we can't adjust anything on the tremolo, obviously. So what happens, sometimes, because you've got to remember this guitar is 30 years old, neck pockets aren't exactly, there is movement over time. Okay?
Yeah.
Just undo a little bit. Alright, undo a little bit. Now, watch this when I do this. I'll swing it back. So it's bringing the E string back into line?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, I've got to hold this back like that. Normally what I'll do, I'll put two legs like that. Just hold it like that.
And you tighten the shit out of it.
Then I tighten it back up. People will frown again, but you have to, because if you don't get the strings over the proper radius of the frets, you will get fret buzz, especially with a Floyd. So you've got to make sure strings are central and aligned to the neck. And hopefully that's fixed it. If not, I'll have to move it again. I'll have to move it again. It's fixed. It's definitely made it better, but I have to move it a fraction. It's just a fraction out. So now if you have a look at the strings from here, see how now it is even.
On both sides?
On both sides.
It's really shiny.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we have each string correctly over the radius of each fret. Because if you notice, frets will have a little bit of a radius, because the Floyd, or the Edge, has a little radius as well. As you notice, this saddle's a little bit lower, it goes a little bit higher, highest, a little bit lower, lower again. And that's what it follows, the contour of the radius of the neck. As I said, if the string...
I thought Ibanez's were flat.
No, they're not flat at all. If you have a look, there's always a radius, see?
Okay.
So there's a little radius?
I believe you. Yeah, yeah, I see it.
Okay. So, so this has to follow the contour of the neck.
Right.
So if the neck is, say for example, which it was, if the neck is just like a fraction that way, it's not each string's not following the correct radius of the neck, and you will get fret buzz. So real fret buzz. And if it really fret buzzes, that means you've got problems on there's obviously frets are one may be a bit higher, or certain may be a bit higher, or the neck, you probably haven't got the truss rod done properly. But yeah, so now I've got that in alignment. We will now do the tuning and the tension of the truss rod. Cut. We have another problem. So the poles that hold the spring, that hold the tremolo into place, we can't get a low action. Now, young Victor, or Vic, our close friend of ours, had he's actually pointed this out on one of your videos.
What's he done said?
I'll show you. He done said this. Well, first things first, I can just get rid of springs. Again, keep them in order, because the way you had it is the way you keep it. I know I'm going to get crucified again, but I've undone the strings because I have to take the bridge out. All right. Now, Vic has actually touched on this, because at the bottom of these poles,
Oh, yep.
have these little things here. Now, because we want a good action.
Do you take those out?
No, don't take it. You can actually screw them in. Okay. So basically, it locks in the actual ride heights. In other words, it can't be allowed to twist. That's why they have these poles. So it actually keeps it stable in the actual thread itself. So it can't come up or it can't go down. But we like our action quite low, so we don't give a fuck. So I like...
You just screw them into the screw.
I like screwing them into the screw. And the stupid, it's funny about this, a lot of people don't know that these things have that. And they go, oh, my guitar won't go down low, it's fucked. And this is probably what he did. He didn't like it because he thought he can't lower the action. I don't like this guitar. Fuck this guitar.
Right.
But it's as simple as altering these little bastards. That's right, cunt. We've now got enough adjustment for the height of the bridge, so we can actually get our action the way we like it.
Which is low as fuck.
As best as we can without it being a dick.
Yeah.
Which it is. Okay. Just to give her a bit of a blocksky doodle. There she is. Lovely.
And what did the dude had the...
Oh, he just had the string retainer. He had it around the wrong way. See the screws, they actually retain into the actual retainer itself, as you can see.
Yeah, there's...
So this actually, what this retainer does, it actually bridges across the 6 strings, so it pulls it flush across the lock. So when you lock yours locked down, it doesn't alter the tuning of the strings. So it actually puts it across the actual full surface.
Yeah.
And normally that's about right. I just normally have a look, and I can actually see the strings contouring across the actual surface of the lock. That's normally pretty good. Man, that is pretty sweet. It plays itself. I'm hardly even touching the damn thing. Cool. What am I doing?
Just...
Is it recording, is it?
Yep.
I can't believe it's not locked and it's still in tune. Wow. That's fucked. That's still in tune. It's a legit fraction out, but it's fucking perfect, man.